So we're at the end of the teens and we're just about at the start of the 20s. It really got me thinking about how important it is to make the most of a decade. So come with me while I go do my night chores and we can talk about it. It's a cold one tonight, friends. It's like -5 degrees. Whew. Hey, Toby dog. How's it going? Huh? Hey, buddy. How you doing? Huh? How you doing? Yeah, buddy. How you doing? Huh? How are you? Oh, you're such a good pupper pup. Go for a walk with me? Come on, bud. Let's go. Come on. You go to the bathroom. Mark your territory, bro. You know, it's kind of incredible when I think about my life and how much has changed in the last 10 years. Like, as I'm thinking about it, right? Like, I think back about 10 years ago. So let's go to December 31st, 2009. I was still living in Hartford at the time. Allison and I were dating. We weren't married or even engaged at that point. I remember going to a party, a New Year's Eve party in downtown Hartford. Hanging out, having a good time with some friends, and I guess my aspirations and my goals and what I wanted to do in life was just so different than where I find myself today, standing outside in -5 degree weather. But I think all that goes to show you just how much your life can change in the span of about 10 years. Come on, Tom. You know anything? See anything? Pests? Any invaders? Huh, buddy? Huh? I don't see anything. Yeah, bud. You're such a good puppy pup. In only a few short days, I'm gonna set fire to this entire burn pile. It's gonna be pretty glorious.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
I feel like it's gonna make for a good event to mark the change of a decade. I mean, whew. Come on, Topes. Come on, Topes. Like, if I think about the changes my life's gone through in the last 10 years, I mean, I would have never expected that I would have gotten engaged and that I would have moved out of the city of Hartford and moved to New York, and I would have gotten married, and then I would have moved to Washington, D.C., and I would have achieved a dream, and then I would have learned that that dream that I had achieved was actually a hollow enterprise. I would reevaluate my life priorities. I would come to the conclusion that I'd want to start a farm, and then I'd buy a farm, and I would restore a 190-year-old farmhouse, and I would plant a massive orchard, and I'd start raising ducks and geese, and I'd move up to here to Vermont, and I'd start a YouTube channel, and I'd start a podcast, and I'd get some barn cats and a dog, and I'd do all this stuff. If I had been really just fixated on thinking of what I could achieve in the span of a decade, I would have never thought any of this would have been possible. Toby, what are you doing, boy? Huh? Toby, come. Yes, good boy. I mean, let's look at it this way. For a best case scenario for a human being, you've got 100 years on this planet. That's like a best case, extreme, far outlier. Yeah, it's happening more frequently, but your odds of doing it are rather slim. But let's just assume you have that best case scenario going on for you, and you have 100 years on this planet. That one decade represents 1/10, 10% of your entire lifespan. That's 10% just gone. That's a significant portion of time, but it feels like it goes by in the blink of an instant. And I find that the older and older I get, the faster and faster it goes.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You know, that first 10 years of my life feels like a millennia unto itself. That next 10 years feels like it went pretty quick, but it dragged on to a certain extent. And when I think about the difference between the time I was 20 to right now, and I'm just about to hit 40, it doesn't feel like any time's passed at all, But when I look at it, that's 20 years gone. And it's got me realizing that every decade I have left, I need to maximize and take full advantage of and chase my dreams and do the things that I care about and spend the time with the people I care about and focus on the important things. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He lives out in California, and he was asking me about life on the farm and how I liked it. And he was saying how he wanted to try to do something similar to this and get away from the rat race and move away from it all. And I said, that's awesome, dude. Go for it. There's never gonna feel like there's the right perfect time. You just ultimately kind of have to go for it and take your shot. And he kind of reacted poorly to that suggestion, because he said, no man, I got too much going on. I got kids. I gotta figure out a couple of other things I got going on. I gotta save up some more money. He highlighted a lot of things that were barriers to keeping him from chasing his dream. And on a certain level, I get it. I mean, taking a plunge, taking a risk is always a hard thing. There's a significant chance that it's not gonna work out. But I guess back to what I was saying earlier, that decade represents such a significant portion of your life that I think you need to actually be willing to take that chance and go for it. And if you spend too much of your life pining for something that isn't your life, you're gonna step back and look at things 20, 30, 40 years from now. You're gonna be like, good Lord, what the heck did I do with that decade? That was like a lost decade to me. And so I just wanted to record this video message to all of you guys out there who are watching our videos and supporting us. And I know I get like a lot of emails from you guys saying, hey, I want to have my own farm someday, or hey, I just started with my own ducks recently. And I think that that's awesome. I would just encourage you to picture yourself, think about it. Think about it 10 years from now. Think about it as it's the year 2030. And you're sitting back there reflecting on what your life was like during the 20s. Did you make the most of this decade or not? Did you make the effort? Did you expand your horizons? Did you deepen the relationships with the people that you cared about? Did you take the chances you wanted to take? Did you end up where you wanted to end up? You would want yourself to feel like, yes, you maximized every opportunity and you really went for it. And you chased your dreams and you chased your passions. I personally can't picture myself saying, well, I wish I had just waited for myself to feel just a little bit more ready, because the odds are you're never gonna feel totally ready. So in my mind, to make this coming decade the best decade, you need to pursue what you're passionate about, and you need to be willing to take just a little bit of risk. And I'm not talking about being like crazy and going off the deep end and taking undue risk or unnecessary risk. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't forego pleasure today for the opportunities that will be created tomorrow. What I am saying is, don't waste your time. It's precious and it's short, and you don't even know if you're gonna have this next decade. Come on, Toby, come on. Let's go, buddy. All's quiet in the geese house. All right, Toby, let's go check on the ducks. Nope, not in the Toby house. Come on. I'm going to the ducks first. Well, I'm not gonna go inside the duck house. I usually like to generally just check on the ducks, make sure everything's secure, you know, give it a once over. All signs look clear. The ducks kind of get freaked out when you go inside. I'm not even sure if you guys can see half of this stuff. You eating snow there, buddy boy? Huh? Ooh, ooh, hey. You guys hear that? It's a lone coyote. Toby, what do you think of that, huh? Huh? Toby, you gonna show that coyote who's boss? Huh, Toby? He's not doing it tonight, but sometimes Toby will bark at the coyotes. It's kind of cool. And you can tell it's just one coyote because of how that sounded, versus like when it's a pack of coyotes, it's a totally different chant and it's a totally different sound. It kind of sounds like something like this. You know, I gotta say, that's one of the things I really enjoy about coming out here on these night walks, is just being able to experience the farm in like a totally different way. You know, like when I'm out here working during the day, it's like a whole different environment and setting. When it's out here at night where you can barely see and you got all these noises and you can look up and see the stars, whew, it's so different. By the way, I know that this was probably totally a weird video because I shot it entirely at night, but I was actually messaging with my buddy Donnie from Homesteading with the Heberts. Check out his channel, I'll leave a link down below. And we were talking about how this time of year when it's all so dark all the time, it's hard to find time to shoot a video. And so I figured I'd try this as a little bit of an experiment. So let me know how you guys feel about me shooting videos at night like this. I know it's kind of weird.